Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. So in this one we're going to be talking about a couple of huge revelations from the penultimate issue of Star Wars Inquisitors, which has just reintroduced a few fan favourites from Star Wars Rebels and the Jedi video games. I've honestly been pretty pleased with this comic run, pleasantly surprised let's say. And I suppose I find it a bit frustrating they didn't use some of these concepts and stories for live action, for the Kenobi show for instance. But as you probably already know, I've been covering this comic run, and today we're talking about the third issue. There's a Jedi survivor called Tenzu Run, and up until this point, the Grand Inquisitor and the fifth brother failed to capture him. In fact, the fifth brother's attempt resulted in the loss of his arm. Tenzu is a particular Jedi survivor of interest to Darth Vader, and this comic is setting up one of the most epic lightsaber duels we've seen in the comics in years. In the final issue, it is teased that Vader himself is going to fight Tenzu, and because the Jedi survivor is setting up an underground Jedi path, we might finally learn the importance of Tenzu Run in the grand scheme of the Star Wars timeline. This might have links to things from the Kenobi show and the Jedi games, and some others I'll get into later in the video. Because Tenzu is so powerful in the Force, and was able to best some of the most incredibly gifted Inquisitors, are they setting up an Inquisitor arc for the survivor of Order 66? Vader expresses he wants to meet him in person. This could be to test him. Are we about to see Vader taking on a canon secret apprentice? The only reason I say this, and propose it as a possibility, is because the previous issue spoke of Tenzu's anger that the Grand Inquisitor killed his master. He might have a lust for revenge. Not sure they'll go this route, but who knows. So two members of the Inquisitorius have failed. So now it's down to two of my favourites, the seventh sister from Rebels and the ninth sister, to hunt down the survivor of Order 66. This issue is titled Nowhere to Run. We find ourselves on the homeworld of Kit Fisto and other Nautilans, Gan Selm. So they go there because they're undercover trying to find information about the wayward Jedi survivor, and they gamble with a scoundrel called Aorgus, a reptilian lizard-looking fella. They're playing on the tables. It's Gan Selm, but it's really reminiscent of Canto Bight, and the ninth sister bellows, "Scoundrels such as you are notorious for cheating wayward travellers." And Aorgus replies, ladies, I beg to differ. Rather, I'm infamous throughout the galaxy for my commitment to sportsmanship. Any other scuttle is merely gossip." And then, the Inquisitors reveal their true intentions. About Tenzu Run. Tenzu Run, the talk of the galaxy. You mentioned dealings with him. I see your angle now. The prize you truly seek is the premium fee the Empire's offered for the head of Tenzu Run. Information of that sort is costly. Considerably more than a haul a card game yields. The ninth sister angrily responds, "The game is still young, Aorgus. Tonight's prize could be legendary." And then the seventh sister chimes in, "Place your cards on the table, Aorgus." "Very well. I win. Perhaps you'll be more successful in your quest to find Tenzu Run than you were in this card game." And then we see the Inquisitors lose their temper. The seventh sister then quickly stabs him in the hand. And then the ninth sister starts blasting the place, the tables, the chairs, while her Inquisitor companion ignites her red blade. Some clarity should be provided. We are not wayward travellers. I am the seventh sister. Where is Tenzu Run? The lizard man caves in and tells them he'll give them any information he knows. To put it simply, Tenzu Run came to Aorgus some time ago, seeking assistance and hiding from the Empire. He paid him a handsome fee to guide him to an abandoned Jedi temple in the Deadlands. There, he sought to rebuild the Jedi Order with his friends. And like I covered in my last video about this, Tenzu Run might connect to the underground Jedi path. Maybe Tenzu had a run-in with Grogu. Maybe one of the friends Keller and Beck mentioned in the Mandalorian Season 3 flashback is Tenzu. Wouldn't that be interesting? We know that Grogu eventually survives and winds up on Arvala 7, but we don't know the fate of Kelleran. I've got a bad feeling something happened to him. So back to the Inquisitors. They believe the lizard's story. So now we cut to the Outer Rim. Tenzu and his friend Pandalesek are envisioning a re-emergence, a future for the Jedi Order. The Padawans will revel here, he says. Learn in the old way of the Jedi. Well, they certainly won't require blindfolds for their saber training. A snarky response. It's so dark there, but Tenzu-run imparts some advice. You must learn to see what can be, rather than what is. We have to learn to rebuild in the shadows, before returning to the light. And Pan answers, I see the most important Jedi in the galaxy narrowly escaping death. Perhaps attention should be placed on survival, rather than the future. No, that thinking will relegate the Jedi Order to the past. We must rebuild now. And then we have a very fascinating reflection from Tenzu. I get the impression it's a dig at Jedi Master Yoda, and everything the final years of the Jedi during the Republic represented. Order 66 crippled the Jedi. Hubris, a belief that we were above all creation, contributed to what befell us. Here, in the dirt, we will restore ourselves. If you pay attention to the language he's using, on the one hand it's about rebuilding, starting from scratch, but it's also got dark side connotations. He is angered with the ways of the Jedi that fell, and the entire bit about in the dirt is reminiscent of language used by the Grand Inquisitor in the Kenobi show, so the Vader apprentice theory could be true. With a smirk, Pan says, amazing how quickly you can soften a determined mind. Do not look away from the task at hand, brother, no matter the danger. So back on the Devastator, the two Inquisitors report back to Lord Vader himself. You are not the first Inquisitors to stand before me with guarantees of Tenzu-run's capture. Yet he remains free, the Dark Lord of the Sith declares, his voice echoing. Until now, the Ninth Sister replies. We will suss him out of hiding and deliver him to you, Lord Vader. Your hubris is admirable. And did you notice the way the word hubris has been twisted from the previous page? For the Jedi, it was a bad thing, but Vader says their hubris is admirable, being used as a positive. More thought should be given to this endeavour. A singular focus has proven insufficient. Tenzu-run suspects a frontal attack. The recruitment of Eorgus was to place you on the path you now wish to follow. But Lord Vader, the Seventh Sister utters, we can adjust to whatever response Tenzu offers, the benefit of two minds working in concert. The failures that have preceded you loom large, Inquisitors. That ends now. The temple Tenzu-run has encased himself in is a false idol. The Jedi's talents notwithstanding, he cannot hide forever. My lord, we've accounted for this. Tenzu will inevitably leave the mountain. The Deadlands yield a plant that secretes a pheromone that drives one to madness. Tenzu will succumb to this. Chaos among the people will draw the Jedi out and force him to intervene. A well-conceived plan, Inquisitor. So then we cut back to the Deadlands. The two Jedi Masters are wandering through the streets. They notice probe droids approaching. Let's get out of here, one of them declares. Run! The probe droid secretes the pheromone amongst the masses. Before they know it, the Inquisitors have caught up with them. Face us, Jedi, the Ninth Sister insists. Sure, why not? I could offer a response, but you'd ignore it. The fight has lots of back and forths, lots of jabs, lots of insults, but ultimately Tenzu-run is able to slash through the Inquisitor's shoulder. She's wounded. Obviously we know she's not dead, because she survives into Star Wars Rebels and dies during that show. But earlier in the timeline, we see her here fighting Tenzu, and she loses. She's injured. He says to them, you and your kind are determined to kill me, but you've failed your master enough. Perhaps it's time we meet. And the comic ends with to be concluded. I reckon Darth Vader's gonna face Tenzu in the final installment, and from the last page preview, it looks like it's gonna be a fight between Tenzu and all of the Inquisitors. And honestly, I can't see Vader not ending him. But like I said, I'm so curious about Tenzu-run's legacy. What do you guys make of this comic? Did you enjoy this video? Do you want to see more of this? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this one, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new, check me out on socials, and may the Force be with you, always.